But before we do that, I'm always just curious, again, for selfish reasons, but it also is the Enneagram MBA show. The type 7, what about that type specifically resonates with you? Like, what made you realize, okay, yep, this is me.
Oh, I was actually shocked when I took it because I didn't expect it to be that accurate. And I knew I would get something out of it, but has been just so enlightening to find out more about not only myself, but everyone I work with, my family members. And the type 7, I mean, absolutely freedom. Number one. It just there's just no question. It completely resonates with me. Being a free spirit, I don't want to be tied down. I don't want to have to do the same thing all the time. That just an excitement, future oriented, thinking about things. I can't wait to do new projects. Like, let's get them all rolling. We're not done with one. Let's start the next one.
Yes.
So I guess that would be the main.
Well, and I noticed, like, obviously I don't work with you on a day-to-day basis, but I noticed, like, even in our process planning the workshop, you were like constantly keeping the ball going. You're like, yes, let's do it. We're in. Okay. You got the food ordered. Like, you just made everything happen. And I'd be curious because sometimes people ask the question, what's the best role for my personality? And you had mentioned freedom and saying, those of us who work in an office, that might not feel like we're a travel blogger, right? That's always like the stereotypical when you hear about a type 7. It's like, oh,
A
they would be
photographer.
right, right. A photographer for National Geographic, of a travel blogger. But obviously, like, not all of us can be there, but we still, like you were saying, have that desire for freedom. So how do you find that in the role that you're in now?
Well, I'm blessed to be at a place that is always initiating new projects. And starting new things. The second we're done with one, we're always just on the cutting edge and, looking to be the best for our patients. What's new in the market, what we can bring to them to enhance themselves so that they feel good about themselves and where they're at. And so, to me, I feel like I actually have a lot of freedom because I'm able to talk to a lot of different people who also have a lot of different types and needs and wants. And it's funny because once you start to get to talk to people a little bit and get to know them, you realize, here's how I can bring this to them. Or, at least I attempt to do that. Here's how I can bring an amazing experience to them.
Yes, and that is like that's one of the foundational things for those of us who identify as a type 7 is that experience. We want all kinds of different experiences. We want to give
That's
people great experiences. Um, the other thing that and that's really interesting because I definitely saw that as like with your team and just you're getting people excited about the experience of a workshop, for example. And it's interesting. I'm just curious, and I'm kind of gonna I'm putting you on the spot, so
okay.
don't feel pressured to answer. I know it's hard for us to sometimes think of the good things about ourselves, and then to say them out loud. But so I'm putting you on the spot. I know I am. Um, Interestingly enough, when we were at your specific team workshop, you were really the only 7 on the entire team, which was interesting. What do you see as your gift that you bring to your team? Or if you want to be more general about it, any 7 could bring to a team.
It's a good question. Um, I think sevens in general, and I would put myself in this category obviously as well, is just striving for that fulfillment. And so I guess the flip side of that is you could say you have FOMO sometimes, which I actually don't really have that often, but striving always to make things better. And so I love being able to bring that to the workplace, bring that to the people that I encounter on a daily basis, my teammates, patients, my boss, my coworkers, all of it. Um, and I think any seven can do that in an amazing way and just really show their care for people in the way that they get them excited. They want to make sure everything's the best for them. Um, you know, that all their experiences are positive from beginning to end.
And again, yeah, you kind of touched on another one of the strengths of a seven is bringing kind of that vision and new ideas and then, helping make them happen. So, I love that. I'm curious, and if you don't, that's okay, but have you identified more with one wing than the other, the six or the eight?
Um, the eight, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And what makes you say that?
um, I guess I have a small circle. I keep, a tight knit group. My family, of course, is in that. I'm direct usually when I speak to someone. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. I'm loyal, I'm passionate. Um, but yeah, I want to protect what I have. I want to protect the people that I care about, the place that I work, my teammates, all of that, and look out for them.
Yeah. And one of the things that had me laughing during the workshop was when your daughter was saying that you do this thing with your hand. And I know as a listener, you can't hear it, but it's like you kind of like, let's come on, like speed it up. Like when she's telling a story, you're like, get to the point because so you have like that 7 and 8, like very future focused energy. So I can see it.
Yes, detail, a lot of details just is completely overwhelming for me. It just honestly makes my eyes roll back in my head. And it's not that I don't care. I'm interested, but just give me some bullet points and bottom line it and let's talk about it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that kind of brings me to the next question I had on the Enneagram before we jump into some of these others is the way that I talk about it and teach it a lot is in the workplace. But I also know that it can be so beneficial and insightful at home or with your friends, family,
Mm.
kids, parents. And I'm just curious, like what insights or ahas you have had with maybe other relationships outside of work that the Enneagram has given you insight about or been able to explain, like the your daughter, like let's get going kind of thing. She knows.
For sure. Yeah, well, honestly, that was really a moment for both of us. And she has shared that with me as well. And, we're blessed to be able to work together. I know maybe a lot of people couldn't do that, have a work relationship and a home relationship, but it works for us. And I just feel like we have come to such a better understanding of each other after taking the Enneagram. And, even I've taken a lot of other tests. She's taken up, at least the Colby. And I got an idea of that for her, but I never understood like her need for security as much and her need to emote. And that was just really an aha moment for us. And she has said the same. She understands me a lot better and is a lot more patient with me as well.
Yeah.